All right, back with another one. Something a little bit different, but a little bit the same what we used to doing. So I have a different kind of project, still mechanical. Instead of a vehicle, this time it's gonna be a tractor. It's one we bought to flip. I've already got the mechanical stuff sorted. Wasn't running. Got all that sorted, had some wiring gremlins. Still gotta service a few things. But other than that, right now we're just at a point where we're gonna clean it up. I'm gonna touch up some spots on the frame, but mainly we're gonna be repainting all the bodywork on the stuff, the hood, the grill, fenders, everything. It's a New Holland, it's a light blue color. I've already talked to my paint shop about mixing something up. I'm gonna take my piece up there and we'll get something kind of matched up. But anyway, let's kind of get into what we're gonna do. There's a few little things. I got a new dash, ours and this stuff. In this spots I got all the factory decals. So this is it. This is a New Holland 2015. Not a bad unit, but you can just tell how bad the paintwork is on it. And if the tractor wasn't in such a good shape otherwise, in such a good mechanical shape, it probably wouldn't be too, I would just leave it like it is. But like a lot of this could probably be polished out, but I mean all this rust and stuff couldn't. Obviously, see it's delaminating there, so. And we'll repaint these grills, we'll polish up the headlights, stuff like that, put our new decals on. We'll touch up some spots like on this roll bar and some of the chassis, but yeah, so it wouldn't be too bad if it was just a scuff and spray. It still ain't too bad. I mean, it doesn't like it's got any dents or anything. You really just gotta grind, you gotta cut this rust off and get something over that. And then we'll just spray this thing. I was thinking about just doing just some cheap single stage. 2 coats of single stage should be good. We ain't going for show quality, it's a tractor, but just want to make it look more presentable. We're going to sell it for a profit. So, I can paint this thing for a few $100, well, $200 or $300, but that should be able to definitely, it may increase the value by 1,000. So with a little bit of work it takes to do it, it's well worth the investment. So anyway, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean this thing, pressure wash it. I'm gonna start kind of taking some stuff off of it. I'm not gonna tear it completely down yet. I'll probably leave the hood on for right now, maybe. Start taking like these dash pieces off, stuff like that. But we'll get the semi tore down, get it washed, get the semi tore down. So I'm not gonna bore you with that. And then once we actually start getting to the prep, then I'll bring you guys back along. Okay, so we got our unit cleaned up. I started taking some stuff off of it, and actually it cleaned up really well. If it wasn't for all the rust and stuff, we could polish this up pretty easy. We wouldn't really even have to paint it. But we want to do it right. So you can see all this rust here, all this rust, all the paint delamination there. So we got this piece off. I'm not going to start on this piece yet. That piece I'm gonna take with me to the paint store so that we can get something matched up. We use that to do that with. Other than that, everything cleaned up well. I'm gonna get the hood squared away first. Then if I got enough time today, I'll start on these. I'll pull this off. A lot of this black stuff, like I said, I'm gonna repaint that. Probably repaint these floorboards. All this looks good. I'll repaint this, our front grill bar, and probably our roll bar, and stuff like this. Again, I'm not trying to restore the whole tractor, just trying to do some little things to, really make it sell, make it pop. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna tape up a few things on the hood. I don't want to get scratched up, and then we'll start scuffing it up. I'll 400 grit most of it, then I'm just gonna spray. But a spots like this and like up here, I'll probably at the 180 those to get them down, maybe even 80 or 180. Try and go least aggressive as possible to get those down, and then I'm probably just gonna spot prime it. So no point in priming the whole thing. The only reason I'm putting primer on it is because I want something that's going to fill in that transition. So we've been working on our rust spots on this side. I started out with 80, ended up having to drop down to 40 to really, some of these are, you can tell was old damage. And they had really set into the metal. Actually I had one with a hole right there where I had to patch that up. But anyway, so now I'm gonna come back with 80 to rough up these bare metal spots. Then we'll rough around the outside of that with 180 to get it ready for primer. And once we get all these spots done, these rust spots done, we'll come back and buzz over the rest of it that's not getting primer with 400. Then once we prime, we'll hit that with 400, and then the hood will be ready to go. Alright, so we got most of the rust spots cut down. Like I said, I hit all this. I actually had to hit the real bad spots with 40. Then I went over all that with 80, kind of feather it out. I like 80 grit on my bare metal before primer, but now I've got 80 grit over these painted areas. So I'm gonna come back over these areas and feather that out with 180. Spots up here on the front that's not getting primer, I'll hit that with 400, and that'll be ready for paint. And after we prime, we'll just prime in this area. We'll come back with 400 on that, and then this whole side will be in 400 and it'll be ready to paint. And what at the top, you know, up here, other than a spot or two, I'll just get 400. And the spots that's up here is bad, you know, it'll get 80 and 180. This side is pretty good. I just got the decals stripped off. Got a few spots that I have to get cut down. Other than that, we'll be able to pretty well 400 this whole side. But pretty much with this single stage, we want to get it in 400. I'll be happy with it in 400. Like I said, after we prime it, primed areas get 400, and then we'll finish it out 400, and then I'll be happy with that. I think that'll work out pretty good. That should fill everything, and our single stage paint should fill that in no problem. All right, day 2 on the paint project. We'll see how far we got. I think I lost the last video I did, or part of it, where I was feathering out this one side. Anyway, let's see what we got. Pretty well got the hood prepped out for primer, and the rest of it in 400. I'll go back and you know, dial it in once we get some primer on. It's the main thing. But we'll have to come back before we prime it, do a light scuff to get rid of any surface rust, which is already accumulating. Once it's painted, we'll do the grills black. I'm gonna do, you know, part of the frame black. Had some rust built up here on top where there's a piece of weather stripping right here. When the hood closes, holds the moisture there, and it was pitted up real bad, so I ground all that down and just put a little bit of fiberglass fiberglass filler in there to kind of level it out a little bit, just make it look a little better. So yeah, so pretty much that's done, ready for primer. So next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get these grab handles off of here, get them prepped out. We'll put some black paint on those. The main thing is, you know, I want to get this roll bar off of here so I can paint this. And if I get the roll bar off and get the seat off, yeah, then I should be able to reach in here and spray it inside my fenders without having to pull those off. Changing the seat out anyway, so it ain't no big deal. Have to pull that out. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get some rattle cans, and I'll rattle can the wheels too. I don't care if that's perfect, you know, I just want to clean them up a little bit, make them, you know, look as good as a tractor wheel when we get done with it, well, close to it anyway. All right, so now I got the hood done. Other than primer, I'm pretty well at a stopping point, so all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start pulling, like I said, these handles, grab handles, and get the roll bar pulled off of here. So once I do that, then I'll check back with you and we'll start start prepping out the fenders. Right, moving on to the fenders. So I'm just gonna start grinding down some of this rust, get it down to bare metal, then we'll feather it out with a DA. Okay, I feathered all these rough areas out. Went from 80, and I just done it with 180. Now I'm gonna go around all the surrounding areas that aren't gonna get primer with 400. That way when we do prime, we're not having primer land on anything that hasn't been sanded. All right, back on the tractor project. We've got it outside, we've got it prepped, taped, cleaned. I just cleaned it with, I used some glass cleaner, foam and glass cleaner as my water-based cleaner. I came back after that with some wax and grease remover. All right, so we've got the surface prepped out. Go ahead and tell you, it's less than optimal. I was planning on having this done before now, like earlier this morning, but every time I plan to do something, it takes me 3 times as long. So anyway, we've got it out there. Where we put it at was in the shade. Now the shade's not there anymore. So it's hot outside, that surface metal has gotten really hot. So as I'm spraying this primer on, it's gonna be drying pretty much instantly. Which, if you're painting, paint, base clear, you would run into issues with that because it's gonna wanna go on dry. You'll have a lot of dry spray, a lot of texture, it's not gonna look too good. Being this is primer, we're gonna have to come back and sand it anyway, so it's not really gonna matter. The main thing that's gonna hurt us is in our build, because we may end up sanding a whole coat off just to get it leveled out. So with that being in mind, we might want to put an extra coat on. But again, less than optimal conditions, but it is just primer. But again, primer is your foundation, so you still want to get it on as best you can. But we're doing what we can as a tractor. It's going to look better at the end of the day. We're still going to paint it outside. When the time comes, we're going to do it under the shelter. There's just a lot of equipment there right now. I don't want to have to move all that stuff. Got limited time. Anyway, so we're going to get it primed. Let me go ahead and show you the tractor, then we'll mix up some primer. Okay, so we've got everything masked up. I'm not going to fully prime it. We're just going to prime the areas that we need. So, you know, I'm going to have my fan a little closer on my gun. I don't want to create a whole bunch of spray. Just want to hit the areas that we need. The areas that we are going to prime have been prepped with like 80 and 180. All right, 180 on the paint. Really 180 on the whole thing. I went back over it. So primer areas are prepped with 180. Rest of it I hit with 400. Yeah, so we're ready for primer. Again, this ain't perfect. I'm not going for perfection here. Okay, so when you start a project and when you're doing it, you want to have a goal in mind. Also, we're doing this outside. It's a tractor. We're just trying to make it look a little better, right? It doesn't have to be show quality. It's a newer model tractor. It's not worth a lot of money. I mean, it's worth a lot of money, but it's not like it's an antique or something. All right, so we're just going for better. I could have sold it like it was, but I factor out my time and dollar amount to repaint it versus my return, and I feel like it's going to balance out better and sell better. So we're going to put some cheap single stage paint job. It's automotive grade, so it's going to be better than whatever was on there. But yeah, we're going to get that done. So like I said, we're not going for perfection. I really could have skipped probably primer and got away with just spraying it, but it just had so much deep scratches and rust that by the time I got all that feathered out, I really needed a good ground coat on there, else I just wouldn't be happy with it. It may have sold fine, but I have to do things, you know, I'm a perfectionist. Even though it ain't gonna be perfect, I gotta make it look decent. Okay, so we're gonna mix this primer up. It's high build, it's thick. You don't have to, but I like to mix a little reducer in it just to make it flow out better. This mix is 4-to-1. So what we're gonna do is we'll go to our 4-to-1 scale. All right, I'm gonna mix up, I'm gonna go to the 6. We'll put our primer to the 6. All right, then we'll add reducer till it goes, hardener till it goes to the 6. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of reducer. So we'll add reducer till it goes to the 6. Okay, very easy to do, but I'll show you anyway. Here's our scale. So we're gonna put our primer to the 6. On that 4-to-1 scale. Most primers and most clears are 4-to-1. Most bases are 1-to-1. Keyword most. Some are different. Okay. So we got our primer to the 6. And we got our hardener, activator, catalyst, whatever. Just gonna go to the next 6. Reducer, gonna go to the next 6. Actually, gonna put a little bit extra. Okay. Now we'll mix that up, get in our gun, shoot out of 1.8 tip. You can shoot out with smaller tips, you're gonna have to reduce it further. Or you may be able to shoot it out of it like this, but keep in mind whenever you reduce primer, again, you're not gonna get quite as much build. So if you have to reduce it, you might want to add an extra coat. Before we spray our primer, we're just going to hit the bare metal with a self-etch, just to help seal it up a little bit. Keep in mind it's a rattle can self-etch. Probably not going to be as good as a 2-part or a spray on, but it's better than nothing. All right. You don't have to get crazy with it, just a little bit on the surface. First coat done. Like I said, got a little texture in it just because of how hot it is. There was a few spatters as I was spraying. That's because the needle seat started leaking a little bit. Could just have a little piece of trash in it, or could be need to lube the packing on the for the needle so it can slide all the way back. But either way, I just pressed on with it, wasn't too concerned about it. A little spatter here and there, and a big deal. We're going to sand it back down anyway. So if it was a vehicle or something nicer, I'd take the time to redo it. These guns that I prime with, that's really all I use them for. So a lot of times I get a little neglected. But yeah, I got one coat on. showed you what I could. It's hard to get the angle right and hold the camera at one time. So you get the gist of it. Probably spraying around 20 pounds. So I turned the fan down a little bit just so I wouldn't prime everywhere that I didn't want to and create a bunch of overspray, because it's not masked up perfect. It's just trying to keep the overspray off of things. Most everything that's going to get touched up. So anyway, just trying not to create work on myself on the back end of it. So anyway, you seen it. We're going to put probably 2 more coats on. We'll let it dry about a week, or as hot as it is, I'll let it sit outside for a couple of days. It should be good. So later on this week, I'll get it. I'm not even going to block it out or anything by hand. We're going to put the we're just going to put an interface pad on the DA, guide coat it, and we're just going to buzz it down with 400. And once she's smooth, then she's good. We're not going for perfection. Just try to smooth it out and just get a uniform foundation to make our paint lay out and look good. See you in a few days. All right, it's been about 5 days. The primer is good and cured by now, within reason. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to start cutting this stuff down with the 400 grit. I'm going to go around the edges with a scuff pad, or the hard to reach areas. Pretty much all I'm trying to do is just level this out, get a texture out of it, just try and get a uniform foundation. If this was a show car or something, yeah, I would block this out with hard blocks by hand. But it's not, it's a tractor. The only reason we primed it is because the surface was just so bad. There were so many deep gouges that I had to feather out, and there were so many spots all over this thing that I just really needed something to spray on here to kind of get a little build to tie it all together. That way we start with a good foundation. Yeah, as soon as I sprayed the primer, while everything was still mashed up, I went ahead and sprayed just a black guide coat on here. That way, I made a mistake before. Sometimes I forget and I'll go ahead and unmask it. Then I have to kind of remask some spots. That way I don't get guide coat all over the place I don't want it at. So that's what we're starting with. There's a few spots I forgot, and I just had to hit them with some 1K primer and a rattle can just so they didn't rust. But anyway, so we got all this in 2K high build. Got this in high build. So we're just gonna come through, start cutting this stuff down. We're gonna get it about 90–95% cut down. After that, tomorrow I'll probably start taking this stuff apart. Probably pull the fenders off. I know I keep changing what I'm gonna do. Probably gonna pull the fenders off, and then I'll make sure I get all the edges and everything and start getting everything clean. Then on the next day, we'll should go ahead and shoot some paint on it. Okay, update time. Got all the bodywork blocked out in 400. Got all these transitions smoothed out. Got all the guide coat off. So until it's, I got all the texture out and got it relatively smooth. Like I said, it's not perfect, but that's not what we're going for. Got this done. Everything's pretty well done. It's dusty now, but a few spots gotta go in and get, a few spots I can't get to. It's looking really good, really pleased with it. Other side. See a dent here we didn't see earlier. We might would have fixed that, but oh well, no biggie. Finish shaped out pretty good. Right, we got the tractor outside. We've got it taped up, prepped, cleaned. We just went over it with our water-based cleaner, which we use the foam and glass cleaner, and our solvent-based cleaner, which is a wax and grease remover. So we went over that. So right before we spray, we hit it with the tack cloth. Other than that, we're gonna go ahead and make some paint up, get our equipment set up here, and then we're gonna go ahead and jump into it. I'm gonna show you how to mix this up. This is a single stage. It's gonna be a 4-to-1 mixture. Okay. Hopefully I won't make a mess, but I probably will. This is 4-to-1. Find your 4-to-1 scale. Let's find the best one here. Okay, 4 to 1 to 1, which we don't need that. So let's see if you're gonna reduce it further maybe. So we're gonna go to the 8 with our paint, then we'll go to the 8 with our hardener. Then this is 4 to 1, it means we got a gallon of paint and a quart of hardener. Oh crap, stick moved. Okay. Went a little over, no biggie. We'll just put a little extra hardener in. Okay, and we'll get this loaded in the gun and we'll start shooting. Okay, so we got this thing sprayed. Hopefully I got some decent footage of it. Another battery died kind of midway, but it is what it is. Anyway, so let's check it out. Laid out really good for some cheap single stage. And as I'm spraying it, I can tell it's flashing off pretty fast, even though it's warm out here, but it's not super hot. I forgot to tell the my paint distributor to give me slow or extra slow hardener, so he might have got me standard, which is why it's kind of flashed on. It's kind of hard to keep a wet edge on some of this stuff, but still came out good. Just had to be kind of peculiar about how and where you're spraying and where you end. Got a little bit of dirt in this stuff, but really not too bad, especially for a tractor. Surprisingly, wasn't any really bugs out today. That's what I'm more concerned about, is the bugs. That's what I generally have problems with, is the bugs. So. Yeah, I'm happy with it. It looks perfect. And what I mean by perfect is not that it's a perfect job. It's got flaws. Obviously, like I said, we didn't spend a lot of time in the bodywork stuff getting that perfect, but it's perfect as far as what I was looking to achieve is exactly the outcome that I got. Paint laid down good, a little dirt here and there, no biggie. Bodywork wasn't perfect, no biggie, but it come out exactly like I wanted it to. This is the exact quality of a job that I was looking for the amount of time and money that I put into it. So it worked out. Couldn't have worked out any better. So this stuff's flashed off. And it's really dry. Dry to the touch. But anyway, it's been a few hours since I sprayed it. About an hour, yeah, a couple hours, hour and a half, whatever. Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and start unmasking this stuff so we can kind of we'll roll it outside, in the light, and get a better idea how it looks. Okay, so now I've got everything put back together. Come out really good. I'm really happy with the results, especially for the money and time we spent on it. Now it needs to be really washed and cleaned up good, but I just hit it with some detail real quick. I hadn't had time to clean it up. Still got a few little things I gotta do. I touched up the like the grills, the frame, sprayed the wheels, which are dirty now. But anyway, touched up the roll bar. Just all the little odds and ends I could, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you too. Quit talking about it. Put our new decal kit on, but yeah, this is it. Let me know what you think. And I really don't think you can ask for much more for a an outside paint job, especially on a tractor. I mean, I think it looks great. It really suits what we need and the use that this product's going to get. This was Matrix single stage paint. Like I said, it worked really good, especially for the money. I got about 300 bucks in the actual single stage, as far as the a gallon of paint and the quarter of activator. We still got some left over, but yeah, I recommend it. I've used really cheap paint before. It's hit and miss. Some stuff it's not even worth spraying for a little bit more money. I mean, I've had stuff I couldn't even get to lay down, couldn't even get to hardly do anything, and it was really just a waste of time. You end up spending a whole lot of time trying to finish it out, and then you got a product that's still not going to last. So a lot of times it's better just spend a little bit more money and get, the worst case, a lower end line of a bigger name company, or something mid-grade. I consider this is probably a mid-grade single stage, but this would be way better if the finish is better, and the longevity I think will be way better than what came on the factory with this unit. But anyway, let's take one more look at it. Like I said, it's not really clean. Let's take one more look at it, just to appreciate the end result. I think the paint laid down pretty good, especially with being outside and being hot. But and then we'll just end on that note. Just give you one more walk around on it, and let me know what you think about it. Let me know if this helped you out. If you got any questions, paint related or anything like that, just let me know, and I'll be sure to get back to you within reason. Thank you.